Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Good morning, good afternoon.
बनवाई है मैंने जो प्रिया
मैं
से
वही
बनवाई
तो
है।
कह रही हूँ, वो चीज।
सही से क्या बात Very good afternoon, everyone. I would request you all to please be patient and wait for 5 minutes. We'll be beginning soon.
Yashika ma'am, good afternoon. Priya Parashar is on side from SBER Bank. I would request you to please start.
A very good evening. On behalf of BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I am delighted to have you all on board. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar on payment mechanism in rupee-ruble bilateral trade, organized by BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry in collaboration with SBER Bank. We at BRICS CCI are committed to promoting commerce and industry across the BRICS Plus nations by creating a platform for dialogue, collaboration, and innovation. Our aim is to support economic growth and sustainable development by connecting businesses, policymakers, and thought leaders. As the global geopolitical and economical landscape shift, countries are increasingly exploring alternatives to traditional trade settlement system dominated by major reserve currencies. In this context, India and Russia have taken significant steps to establish a bilateral trade mechanism using their national currencies, the Indian rupee and the Russian ruble. Strengthening bilateral relations through innovative and mutually beneficial financial arrangements is more important than ever. The India-Russia partnership has been a cornerstone of strategic cooperation, and the focus on using national currencies, the rupee and the ruble, for bilateral trade is a step towards financial sovereignty and resilience. To discuss the same, we have with us Mr. Naveen Malhotra, the Director of Customer Relations at SBER Bank. SBER is the largest bank in Russia and one of the leading financial institutions in Central and Eastern Europe. Headquartered in Moscow, the bank serves millions of individuals and corporate clients, offering a wide range of services, including retail and corporate banking, investment services, insurance, and digital financial solutions. In recent years, SBER has also emerged as a technologically driven ecosystem, expanding into areas like e-commerce, cloud computing, AI, and digital platform. Mr. Malhotra has a rich experience in corporate banking for over 17 plus years, working with various MNCs and Indian private banks. Today's session explored the operational framework, challenges, and future prospect of these payment mechanisms. I hand over the webinar to you, Mr. Malhotra, and hope everyone would have a fruitful session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for this lovely introduction, Lavanya. I hope I'm audible. Okay, I will proceed. I guess that was a yes from your side. So first of all, big thank you to all the participants today for taking out time for this, important knowledge session. The reason why I say it's important is because, given the current geopolitical situation and the business environment globally, it is very apparent that Russia has emerged as one of our key, crucial, trading partners for India. Be it the looming threat of, U.S. tariffs or, situation with, different geographies pertaining to slowdowns and, our bilateral trade relations with them. Russia, on the other hand, it comes across as an age-old friend, a historic friend to India, which has and this friendship has stood the test of time, and hence it is pertinent and important for us to, focus on this important bilateral trade opportunity. Lavanya has already, given you a brief introduction about SBER Bank. I will, proceed from there. Just to give you a background, SBER Bank is the largest bank of Russia. It is a government-owned bank, which means that, if you were to compare from Indian standpoint, you can probably think of, SBI as the only comparable, bank to SBER Bank in Russia. However, on many matrices, SBER Bank is even larger than SBI in India. Just to give you a few numbers, a SBER Bank covers about 50% of corporate population as their clientele in Russia. So half of companies that are registered in Russia, and there are, much more, companies than in India, are banking with SBER Bank for some of the other product. 70% of their individual population, or the overall population of Russia, is a clientele for SBER Bank. We hold about 35% market share in the overall asset asset book of the entire country. And yeah, of course, that goes to show the size of the bank, the reach of the bank, and how deeply penetrated the bank is. We are celebrating 184th anniversary this year. And in fact, as a matter of fact, today we are celebrating 15th anniversary of the Indian branch. So this seems to be a very lucky day for us to be having this webinar, because this is an auspicious day for us as well. We set up our first Indian branch here in 2010. We now have two branches, one in Delhi and one in Mumbai. We also have an IT hub in Bangalore. Before I proceed further, Ria, I cannot see the slides on the screen.
So I'll just share in a
Sure. So while my colleague, is working with the slides, okay, here they are. Wonderful. Yeah. So as you can see, fellow friends, we are rated A1 plus as far as our credit rating is concerned. I'm talking about the Indian branch. We are servicing Russian and Indian companies working together. So when I say that, I mean we are AD category 1 bank in India, which means we are a scheduled commercial bank. We have a full-fledged license, and we cater to any business dealing or any company having any sort of business dealing. It could be trade, it could be investments, it could be mergers and acquisitions, it could be any other kind of business opportunity with regards to Russia. You will find us there. Next slide. So our business profile in India, I have given you a glimpse, but there are three key tenets to our overall presence in India. We are the key bank for supporting Indo-Russian bilateral trade, as I mentioned. The reason is, of course, our size in Russia, as well as our presence and size in India. We are the only Russian bank that has, with this kind of team size and this kind of presence in India. Second is, of course, we are considered to be Sherpa of Russian businesses in India and Indian businesses in Russia. And what I mean by that is that any Russian company who's trying to get into India, who's trying to enter India, or vice versa, thanks to our presence in both these countries and being the largest Russian bank in India and the largest Russian bank in Russia itself, the companies for guiding, for guidance and to help them navigate through various challenges when it comes to setting up businesses or finding trade partners in a different country. And of course, we are a conduit for Russian investments in India. We hold an FBI license, foreign portfolios. When they want to invest in India, they approach us for the know-how, for the guidance, for our insights, with Indian market and in this regards. Hi, colleagues, am I audible?
Yes, Mr. Malhotra, you are. I guess you have I guess there's a network problem there, if you could check. You're audible now.
It's
Yeah,
working fine now, so let's just make the most of it while it's working. Okay,
sure.
okay, great. So I don't know where I dropped off, but yeah, just to conclude, we are, just to conclude these 3 points briefly, we are, key bank to facilitate trade between the two countries. Economies as well as the companies and businesses of both these countries approach us, approach SBER Bank for guidance when it comes to investment or in finding trade partners or setting up businesses in Russia and vice versa. And we also facilitate Russian investments into India. Next slide. So in India, we now offer a full range of financial products. We are not only, present in corporate lending with regards to project finance, term loans, etc. But we're also offering trade finance products, be it letters of credit discounting, invoice discounting, and bank guarantees, etc. Corporate banking, of course, is there. We are not present in retail sector. We are only doing B2B or corporate banking, and of course, payments continue to be our mainstay. As your members might be aware that there is currently sort of a vacuum in terms of in the market when it comes to payments to or from Russia. We happen to be the only bank, so to say, who's processing all these payments absolutely seamlessly. There are other banks who are doing in pockets, and there are banks, who do it, but there are challenges with regards to post-payment compliances. But at SBER Bank, we are doing, as I said, we're the only bank which is doing end-to-end payment solutioning seamlessly as a one-stop shop. So that's very important, and that continues to be our mainstay in for our Indian operations. As I've already remarked upon our consulting activity with regards to setting up businesses or finding trade partners or M&A or IB consulting. We offer this service as well, and companies can also place deposits with us now, as we offer lucrative interest rates on our term deposits. Next. So apart from being a bank, as I've mentioned in my opening remarks, we are also present in Bangalore with our IT hub. We employ over 300 people there. The idea is to churn out new IT products for the banking industry from Bangalore. This serves as our global IT hub as well. We are present in Russia in a big way through our artificial intelligence initiatives. We plan to bring some of these AI products into India in future. We run a lot of education programs in Russia about how to do business in India. It's very similar. Well, we have a large university there actually in Russia. In fact, we are not only the largest bank, we're the largest company in Russia with having the largest market capitalization. So we also happen to be present in the education sector there, where we run a few education programs about Indian businesses or Indian business environment. And yeah, of course, we continue to serve Indian diaspora through our presence in Russia. Next. I think we can skip this one. Next. This is an important slide that I want to talk about, and people might take note here. Business development is for Indian businesses or Indian companies. So we have set up, a business development team, which is about 60-member team. About 1/3 of this team is in Moscow and 2/3 is in India. So about 40 people in India, and their primary job is to find partners for Indian businesses in Russia. So if you're planning to, if as a company, if you're planning to expand into Russia, or if you're planning to, enter the Russian market with your products, we can help you free of cost. How do we do this activity? There are about four ways in which we do it. First is the simplest of them is that we can update your product profile in our database, which is then accessible to all the Russian corporates in Moscow, and they can approach approach the company in India through their relationship manager in Moscow after having looked at your product profile. Second is that we organize buyer seller meets virtually twice a month. These are very product specific buyer seller meets. We give a chance to Indian companies to present their product profile to Russian buyers directly, over a webinar. Third is we organize physical buyer seller meets as well. These physical buyer seller meets happen not very often, about twice in a calendar year, but these are at a larger scale. And lastly, of course, we keep hosting a lot of delegations, business delegations from Russia. As I mentioned, in the second slide, we work as the Sherpa or the guide for the Russian businesses into India. So all these Russian companies, when they come to us, we make them meet the potential trade partners in India. And all these activities, by the way, are done absolutely free of cost. Our interest in ensuring that the trade is bolstered between the two countries As some of your members might know, currently the trade between the two countries stands at about 65, billion dollars. Major chunk of this trade is Russian imports into India. Approximately $60 billion is imports into India, and only about $5 to $6 billion is exports from India to Russia. And that is why the mandate from both government is to bring some parity in this overall trade basket. The leadership of both the countries have set a target of reaching $100 billion before 2030. We obviously being an important stakeholder, being the important banking partner for both the countries, it is incumbent upon us as well to play our part in this whole exercise of boosting trade between the two countries, and hence this is an important initiative that we've undertaken, to further that objective. So that's about it. This brings me to the end of the presentation per se. But I realize that there must be one important query which I'm sure I will get from some of the members who are already working with Russia, which is with regards to the payment mechanisms. Of course, the title of today's webinar is payment mechanisms. So I will quickly give you a brief view or glimpse into how are we managing the payments. You see, RBI has allowed opening up of special rupee Vostro accounts by Russian banks in India with Indian banks, and therefore we hold. The Russian suburb Moscow holds a special rupee Vostro account with with the India branch, suburb India branch, and hence the this mechanism helps in settlement of bilateral trade in local currencies. So, as an exporter, you can always invoice your Russian counterparty in INR, and through Suburbank, they can easily send INR directly in your account in India with Suburbank India. The other question that we repeatedly get is that do you have to open an account with us for this to happen? So a couple of things on this front. First of all, as a scheduled commercial bank, as an 80 category 1 bank, we are entitled and we're authorized to open and maintain current accounts. Second is RBI in their circular wide November 23 and then in June 24, they've allowed exporters and importers respectively in the to maintain a special export and special import accounts again respectively, which means that now you do not have to seek permission from your existing lender to open the special export or special import account. Without NOC, you can maintain these accounts. Third, you do not have to have any lending facility just to maintain these accounts. Even if you have, your working or your lending above 5 crores or above 10 crores, you can still go ahead and open a special export or import account with us. If you do not have any lending, you can open a regular current account with us. If you have lending and you still wish to open a current account, we can, you can avail some facilities from us to ensure that we are above 10% of your overall lending your lending bucket, and then you can open a regular current account. Now, why is opening an account important? Well, to be honest, you can still continue to route funds through us without opening an account. However, for us to be able to close all your post-payment compliances, especially with regards to knocking off of EDPMS and IDPMS entries, it is far easier if we become your AD bank and we issue an AD code to you, which you can then mention in your shipping bill and your documents that you submit to the customs. And by virtue of it, whenever the payment comes, all your BRC issuance and EDPMS knockoff, etc., happens within Cyberbank. It's like a one-stop shop. On the other hand, if for example you're only routing payments without opening an account, then we are dependent on your AD bank, to give us approvals for AD code transfer. The process is a little more cumbersome and much more time consuming, and hence we always advise to open an account and use us as your AD bank for Russian transactions. So with this, I it's appropriate that I just call it stops here. Um, this was it was lovely, talking to you, and I'm open for questions, answers, if any.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malhotra, for your insights. We certainly are receiving questions on the topic, some of which I would like to highlight. So the first question is asked by Ms. Sharan. She asks, what are the current accepted payment mechanisms for Indo-Russian bilateral trade in rupee ruble form? I would repeat, what are the current accepted payment mechanisms for Indo-Russian bilateral trade in rupee ruble form?
Sure. So you can, well, as I mentioned during the presentation, you can always, request your buyer to send money in INR or ruble. Since Bank Moscow has a special rupee voucher account with us, the money can be routed through them by their. If they happen to be banking with Bank Moscow, then it's even easier. If they're banking with any other bank, they can route the money through Bank Moscow into Bank India, and we'll transfer it to your main account in India, be it India, be it HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank or any other bank.
Right. I hope that answers your question, Sharan. Uh, Another question is, what is the correct process for generating and submitting BRC documents in Ruby Ruble trade? Are there any specific RBI guidelines or for exporters or importers that they need to follow? Again, repeating the question, what is the correct process for generating and submitting PRC documents in rupee ruble trade?
Yeah. So the process is basically the same as with any other Indian bank. Once the payment is received in the account in Sabar Bank, for example, we will be sharing an SFMS copy, which will also work as a confirmation that we have received the payment. That copy can be submitted to your bank, who will then issue the EFIRC copy. Basis that EFIRC copy, we can go ahead to our name. Once that is done, this will be done on the DGFT website. Once that is done, we can generate IRM. And once we generate an IRM, you can go ahead on DGFT website and generate BRC for yourself. and post that EDPMS entry will be knocked off automatically. This is if you are not holding an account with us. If you're holding an account with us, then we become your AD bank. Our code is mentioned on your shipping documents, and hence, my bad. And hence, once the payment comes, we do not need to, no bank needs to issue any EFIRs, etc. We do all the background work, and simply it is much shorter and much easier if you have an account with us.
Great. I hope that answers your question. Next up, I guess some of the people from the audience might want to ask questions themselves. I would want Miss Ankita to please go ahead with the question.
Hi, Naveen.
Hi,
Am I audible?
yes, you're audible.
So, Naveen, in the start of your presentation, you did mention on the sales part as well that you are helping in matchmaking and the market entry for the Indian company.
Ankita, I lost you.
Miss Ankita, if you can come again, I believe you have certain network issues. Till then, there is another question, Mr. Naveen, asked by Chirayu Juneja. He says, how are Indian exporters protected from a potential regulatory backlash or sanction risks when trading in rupee ruble through alternative payment channel, especially amid shifting geopolitical alignments?
It's a very pertinent question, and thanks to the member who asked this question. So, if I'll explain it in a way that just consider the regulatory environment here. What we are essentially doing is that we are only using the payment infrastructure of India and Russia. We are not using SWIFT. We are not touching any other currency. We are only dealing with the national currencies of these two countries and only using the payment infrastructure developed by these two countries. And hence, we are within the regulatory ambit of the two countries. India has not recognized these sanctions per se as a country. And hence, as far as the regulations of these two countries are concerned, we are absolutely fine. Working with INR and ruble, and doing these transactions. In fact, RBI has been quite supportive. As I mentioned initially, that we have opened our second branch in November 23 in Mumbai. This is post sanctions, and for every branch opening, you need RBI approval. So we've been, doing these transactions within RBI ambit on a daily basis. In fact, I should mention that about 70 to 80% of all Indo-Russian flows happen through us. And hence, there is no regulatory restriction when it comes to INR ruble payment mechanism. Now, your question, does, mention the risk of sanctions. As I said, since we're not touching SWIFT or USD or any other Western payment infrastructure or currency, we do not fall into that ambit. Um, Also, because we are using the again a safe and a secure payment mechanism, there is no chance or risk of any third party knowing that you're dealing with Russia or a XYZ company, etc. So all these beat any bank, your payments are very secure. The information itself is very secure, and there is no risk of this getting leaked for you to be worried about a risk of secondary sanctions.
Noted. Right. So we have got another question, which says, does promoting a bilateral rupee ruble mechanism create over dependence on a non-reserve currency trade partner? And how can Indian business particularly balance this with dollar or euro dominated trade flows?
Again, an interesting question. You seem to be having very academically oriented people. I appreciate the intellectual level of the members present. So, you see, the whole idea behind using local currencies for bilateral trade is to eliminate. I mean, this is not a political platform, but I guess in today's world, it's been talked and written about quite a bit. And I can mention this word of dollar hegemony, um, especially post war and sanctions. Not just India, many countries have decided to use their local currencies for trade settlement. And whether it creates over dependence on a non-reserve currency trade partner, it might, and that is the reason why we're looking at options and viable mechanisms to boost exports from India as well, to to bring some parity to the bilateral trade in terms of partnership. Your second part of the question is, how can Indian businesses balance this with dollar or euro denominated trade flows? I don't quite understand this part of the question, because right now we're only dealing with Russia-India bilateral trade. Um, so uh, I'm not sure. And having said that, it is just $65 billion annually, which is just a fraction of India's global trade. I don't really see too much of dependence on INR ruble for us to be looking at ways to balancing this with dollar or euro denominated trade flows. Yep.
Right, makes sense. Yeah. Sure. Again, I believe we have somebody who raised their hand to ask questions. If we have them back, Miss Ankita, I believe.
Hi, Naveen. I lost the connection initially. So I was
Yep.
asking, in the start of your presentation, you mentioned on the support on market entry for Indian companies in the Russian markets. So is
Mhm.
it a prerequisite to open an account first and then move ahead, or how this goes?
No, actually not. You can, go ahead, share your product profile, and we'll be happy to, like put you in touch with, some of the Russian buyers who might be interested.
Mm-hmm.
However, the process is longer. As you would understand, there are here. As I mentioned, we import about six from a handful of corporates, because these are, mostly oil, gas, coal, and other energy products, um, fertilizers, gems and jewelry, etc., raw in their raw form. And we export only 1/10 of this value, which is fragmented across 10,000 exporters, right? So at our side, on the Indian side, the trade is far more granular. The volumes are far more granular, and hence, even as a bank who's assisting, companies for business development, we have thousands of customers who want to, explore Russian market, and we have product profiles of thousands of such customers. So in all practicality, it makes sense to be a regular customer, to be in regular touch with our, relationship managers in our BD team, etc., because it definitely helps the visibility part, right? But having said that, it does not deter you from sharing your product profile, and if the product sort of hits the sweet spot in terms of its uniqueness or the requirement, or if there is a lot of demand in the Russian market, and we start receiving queries from the Russian market, we'll be happy to put you in touch with the request with the required people there.
Sure. In that case, we'll reach out to you with two or three of our companies who are interested in the market. So we'll take it offline.
Sure.
That's it.
Great, great. And in the end, I would like to thank you, Mr. Malhotra, for your insights on the topic. We hope this session would have served its purpose for our audience and help resolve the queries for them. Again, I would request all the present audience to kindly switch on their cameras. We'll be having a quick picture time, after which I guess we are good to go. Again, switch on your cameras, those who are comfortable doing.
Hello, everyone. It was very great having such discussion with Mr. Naveen and Ms. Yashika with you as well. I hope we all have enjoyed this webinar. And if any case of any inquiries, I hope you have already, referred my mail ID and the contact number in case of any issues. Please contact. Thank you, everyone.
Sure, we'll just take one more minute of yours. Those who are comfortable switching on the videos, kindly do so. We'll have a quick group picture. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Naveen, again for a fruitful session. I hope everyone enjoyed and had a great learning from this. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. Thanks, to the organization, to Lavanya, to you, and all the members who have participated, to have joined. Thank you so much.